Yes, happy Friday, everybody. I hope you've all had a good week and have something amazing planned this weekend with your friends and loved ones. Thank you for coming to Pure Coys. I'm Nige. As always, please like, please subscribe. It really does mean the world. So, Spurs, this weekend, we are at home to Ipswich Town, 2 o'clock on Sunday afternoon. For me, this is a massive must win game. We cannot afford to have another defeat before an international break. We've already had two defeats before international break. A third one would be totally and utterly unacceptable. Let me know in the comments what you think. How do you think we'd do at home to Ipswich this weekend? Let's get into the team news. For Spurs, it is as follows. Spurs will be without Mickey van der Ven until after this international break. We already knew that, while Richarlison and Wilson Odegaard are facing spells on the sideline. What a surprise. There is hope Christian Romero will return from his knock he sustained against Villa, fingers crossed, while Human Son looks set to start. But that's kind of the news we expected, right? We didn't really expect anything more than that, I guess. We hear that Mikey Moore is still out injured as well. Well, he's ill apparently, so he won't be in the squad. But you know what? It's kind of the team or the squad that I was expecting. I expect Romero to probably be fit. I hope he is. After last night's performance, I don't want to see Davis and Dragishin in the centre of defence again, please. As for Ipswich, let's take a look at the Ipswich team news. I mean, it's not a great deal here, but let's look at it. I will get it up, please. Thank you. The Ipswich team news as follows. Stay with me. Here it is. For the visitors, Harry Clark could return from suspension, but Calvin Phillips is out due to the red card that he was shown against Leicester. Axel Tuanzebe is injured following a freak accident while washing up. This is why men should never wash up. I'm just saying. And Chidoze Agbene, sorry if I butchered it, is unlikely to play again this season. I'm sorry if I was really sexist then. Of course, men should always wash up. I wash up all the time, but I am single. So that is the Ipswich team news. As for the head-to-head, this is a really interesting one, actually. The head-to-head, and I didn't expect to see this. You got to remember, Ipswich were quite a big side back in the day, but they haven't seemed to be in the Premier League for a long time. But a head-to-head in history, so this is in history, not just Premier League history. There have been 24 Spurs wins, 8 draws with 21 Ipswich wins. So Ipswich have won their fair amount, but you've got to remember, as I said, they used to be a really big side, some great players over the years. But listen, I expect Spurs to win this quite comfortably. I cannot see anything else than a Spurs victory. But listen, we will see. We will see. As the Spurs team, I'd expect it to line up with Vicario in goal, with Udogi, Dragushin, Romero, and Porro. I'd expect the midfield to be something like Bentancur, Sarr, and Kulusevski. I think Madison may lose his place again. And I think the front three picks itself Johnson, Sonny, and Solanke. And I'm expecting a Spurs win. I'm expecting a 4-1 victory for Tottenham. I think Solanke will get a couple. Listen, Solanke's goal last night was a lovely finish, a really nice finish. Obviously, he scored 2 last week again. The first one, a beautiful finish. He looks like he's on form. He's back in the England squad. He needs to keep scoring now. 3-2 for him. If he can add another couple on Sunday, it takes him into the international break with England full of confidence. And I'm expecting them to score a couple now. I said 20 before the season started. Of course, he started slowly, but hey, he scored another couple last weekend. So let's see what he can do against Ipswich. it's the kind of game he should be scoring in for me. If we spent 65 million on a striker, these are the games he should be netting. But we will see. I want to quickly talk about the Galatasaray game last night because I haven't done a video about it. Obviously, I did a live last night with Dan and my son Charlie, which went really well. We really enjoyed it. But my take on the Galatasaray defeat last night was okay. If you look at the score, we lost 3-2 with 10 men. Doesn't look like a bad result, but actually, performance really was terrible. You know, it's one we got to move on from, but it really is unacceptable for me. The senior players let Spurs down big time. This isn't on the young players. For me, Bergvall and Gray are not good enough. Simple as that. They're not good enough yet. I'm not saying they're not going to be good enough in the future, but they're brought in as young players. And I'm sorry, I failed to believe that they looked so good in training that Spurs didn't believe they needed cover in midfield. You know what? We sold experience in Højbjerg, even Skip. I'm not saying they were good enough, but Højbjerg, you know, over 80 caps for Denmark. If we're going to let him go, fine, but bring some experience in. You know, I don't. It doesn't have to be, you know, Maradona. Bring some experience in that have played at this level, and this kind of players that can slot in to these Europa League games and seamlessly look good. You know, I feel for Gray. He's out of position. I think he needed to stay at Leeds for another year. Fine, pay the money for him. Pay the 40 million or whatever we paid for him. But let him stay on at Leeds for another year. Then get him in and see what we can do with him. As for Bergvall, he looks well out of his depth for me. He has been a real disappointment. He is young, but I feel like we are killing him in there, to be honest. I think the more I see him play, the less and less confidence he seems to have. And for me, I'd be looking to loan him out in January, get a couple of experienced midfielders in, and let these youngsters play regular first team football at a good level where they can learn their trade and then see what we can do with them, either next season or even 18 months later. I don't know. But for me, they're definitely not ready yet. Let me know in the comments what you think about that. The senior players let them down and they let the fans down last night. You know what? The likes of Madison, the likes of Sonny, the likes of Davis, the likes of Basuma. Basuma did okay second half, but first half poor. The likes of Porro, you know, just hid last night for me. All of them poor, poor players last night. And they really let the youngsters down. They really let the fans down. And look, they let themselves down as well. Um, yeah, that's all I can say. I didn't see any of them chucking themselves into tackles, chucking themselves, blocking balls, trying to stop shots from coming in. It was all way too easy for Galatasaray. Dragashin, another young defender. He is a pure defender. Listen, he's not good on the ball. And he looked, again, out of his depth last night. Even his defending last night was shocking. Listen, it's just one game. And he learned from it. But I felt from last night, it was a really difficult watch as a fan for Dragashin because he just looked terrified. And I was actually watching the game thinking I would rather have Sanchez in the defence than Dragashin. And that was how bad it was because, listen, Sanchez, bless him, is not the best either. And then we go to Ange, who for me, again, tactically a little inept. Listen, I've said in a previous video, if you look at my last video I've got about Ange, go and check it out, give it a watch, give it a like, let me know what you think. I have said, listen, Ange at home, breathtaking. He does everything right, makes the right substitutions at the right times, but away from home, something's wrong. Something isn't working. When we get pressed, we cannot deal with it. Happened against Palace, and I said after the Palace game, I put a video out, said, Ange as a manager should be looking to change that. And I get he's looking to install a philosophy. I get that. But he's had 12 months to do that. He's been here 18 months now. The players should know the philosophy. If it's not working, we need a plan B. And for me, that plan B is just mix it up a bit. Hit the ball long a couple of times. Try and turn the Palace defence. Didn't happen. We kept playing around at the back. We ended up getting punished and conceded and lost the game. Exactly the same happened last night. We were really struggling to get the ball out of defence. For whatever reason, the players were poor. The passing was awful. They looked like they were shot with confidence. And that for me is when Ange, as the manager, has got to say, he's got to pull Madison or pull Sonny and say, look, Get the defenders to hit the ball long, mix it up. Not every ball, but instead of just getting the ball and playing out, just look to play the ball long. Look to get the ball in behind. Look to turn the Galatasaray defence, take the pressure off a little bit. He didn't. He let the Spurs team fold. He let them keep making mistakes. And for me, that's a real concern. I've got nothing against Ange. Like I say, I love the way we play at home. But away from home has to change. Something's got to change, right? As this season is just going to be a season of win one, lose one, win one, lose one. And as a fan, I don't want that. Listen, it's just one game. We've done really well in Europa League so far, won 3 out of 3. Performances, not great, but we won the games. Last night was a shocker. We move on from it. Hopefully, we learn from it. I will leave it there. Have a great Friday night, everyone. Have a great Saturday. Have a great Sunday whenever you're watching this. And as always, stay positive, stay poised, and stay Spurs.